So, I might have been wrong, but there are people a lot smarter than me that play this game, so they actually know what's going on, and they know more about the lore. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. There are a lot of things you guys talk about that I don't know. I'm gonna address the points, say why I made them, talk about if they're correct, go from there. The first one was that I said there's no proof that human beings existed and that the monsters know what human beings look like. And someone commented that Gerson is a historian and he writes about human beings. So on that part, I was just wrong. And then secondly, I argued that Kris wasn't human because he's referred to as they, and I didn't make this explicit in the video, but I said this was the first time a character is referred to as they. Someone commented that that's not true. Nutters Incorporated. Kris is referred to as they rather than he or she because they are gender neutral. They don't identify as male or female, so they use they, them pronouns. Frisk, Chara, and the river person are the same in Undertale. So I'm wrong there. Now it's up for debate whether Toby Fox just wants you to project yourself as a girl or a dude onto Kris, or if Kris is identifying as they, them. I'm gonna go with you can project your own character because that was the point of Frisk as far as I can tell. I know some people are going to disagree with this, but that's what seems to be the most likely one to me. But either way, it's not good evidence to say that that means Kris is not human. It's possible that he's still not human. I just don't think that's a good argument for that. So I was wrong about that too. And so what I'm trying to do with this video is talk about all the different ideas and try to land on one that seems most correct. So this is why I need to bring up the comments, actually. Skella Clock says, thing is, what if Kris isn't the knight? Like, what if the first 3 fountains were indeed opened by someone else? After all, characters learned about how any lightener could open it in chapter 2. So, like, maybe just because Kris opened this one doesn't mean he opened the others, right? So it's at least confirmed that Kris opened one. We don't know if he opened the other 2. And this is why I was trying to look into the library and see, okay, who has a reason to go into the library and open a dark fountain? It's not even that Kris is the most likely. Like, I just don't know. If anyone has any ideas on that, please drop them. So maybe just because Kris opened this one doesn't mean he opened the other ones. Possibly not because of chapter 2 ending, but I wanted to think about it nonetheless. Yeah, so I don't know. That's a good point though. It's not really in favor of Kris being good or evil, but it's in the middle realm. Okay, Cyber Llama. I think Ralsei is involved too because whenever Susie is away, like in chapter 1 when they are locked up, Ralsei presses you if you are wondering about what Susie. I think this person's talking about the soul and the fact like you as the soul. Also, when the screen comes back, Ralsei seems to be finishing a conversation, meaning they talked. And then edit, I just read a comment by OctoKid. It makes sense because maybe Ralsei is convincing Kris to do it because they resemble Asriel in their names or an anagram. Yeah, so that's another thing too, is we know there's something with Ralsei that isn't naturally human, but not naturally, and by human I mean lightener, and not naturally a darkener either. So the other thing is, I don't know what the souls are of the other monsters, because in Undertale, this is a big point, right? The big point is, here are the monsters. They don't have souls, or they do, but they're not like your soul. Your soul is unique because you're human, and I think that's true, and the reason I think it's true is because we just have this implicit assumption that if a dog dies, it's sad. Not nearly as bad as when a human dies, right? I'm not 100% sure why that is. I mean, it seems like humans just have more intrinsic value than animals, and that idea is in Undertale. But the other thing is, the Deltarune monsters, they seem to be able to have more control over a variety of different things that you just wouldn't expect monsters in Undertale to control. Like, you look at Frogget, you're like, what's this small, tiny, rinky-dink frog gonna do? And you're like, nothing, because he's a frog. But then you have Noelle, who's a complex character and very well written, and then you have the Snowgrave route, which is even better because it tears you apart psychologically. Okay, so here's a comment from Russian Letters. Sorry, can't read your name. So I'm guessing Kris and Thing that slashes tires and created another fountain is different persons. So this is a super interesting idea because we're trying to figure out now what Kris wants to do. We're trying to figure out what he wants to do. If you look at the map of the Deltarune hometown and you point out where all the dark fountains are, I thought it was going to be like some big brain like triangle, and then you could map it onto the Deltarune, and then you could be like, yeah, there's this huge, there's nothing there. There's nothing there unless someone is like trying to figure it out. I can't figure it out if there's anything there. I don't know. The important thing is, what's Kris doing? And so if he's not slashing car tires, okay, this is huge. If Kris didn't slash car tires, what did he do? We don't know. And no one knows. And that's a terrifying thing. If he didn't slash car tires, and this took him like 3-4 hours to climb out a window, climb back inside. It took Toriel and Susie like 3 whole hours in game time, if you look at or maybe like an hour, because I think from like that part of sunset to like full dark, maybe like an hour. Okay, but still, that's 60 minutes of whatever Kris feels like doing. I mean, he could technically blow up an orphanage or something if he felt like it. I don't know. Probably not that, but it's a theory. The most transparent character right now, honestly, is Susie, which is weird because Susie's the most dangerous, technically speaking, but intellectually, Ralsei seems like he has a plan. Maybe there are people that are totally against that theory and they're like, no, Ralsei's all good. He's just a chill, laid-back dude that's trying to help everyone out. He has heal spells, so either we're thinking way too much into this, or it's all red herrings. I don't know what the answer to that is. So there's two running theories in the comments. One side saying, no, Kris is evil, and the other side saying, no, Kris wants the best for everyone. I think it's somewhere in the middle. It's not obvious that he's a bad guy, but there are small things that you can look at, like his red glowing eye, the fact that his brother's gone, the fact that his bed is unmade, right? It's all these like small details where you're like, maybe Kris isn't right psychologically speaking. The other thing is he's hanging out with Susie. Okay, so this is branching off now, right? So there's a psychology idea where if you pair like good kids with bad kids to make the bad kids better, the bad kids make the good kids worse. So then everyone is just in a circle of bad. I guess, like, realistically speaking, Susie would technically be making Kris a worse human being, but Kris isn't even a being with a soul. So I don't know what Kris is. One side of the argument is Kris is saving everyone, and so the argument goes like, okay, he's helping Susie, and I actually really like this argument, and I heard this from Milk Jug, and I've talked about Milk Jug before. I really like the argument that Kris is helping everyone out, because let's assume Kris made the Dark Fountain in the library at the end of chapter 1, because we don't know what Kris did. You know, and someone commented, oh, Kris went off and ate the pie while your soul was out of his body. As far as I can tell, that's true. They were saying it as a joke, but I think it's actually true. I'm pretty sure Toriel says the pie tin's empty, and she clearly didn't eat the pie, so Kris takes his knife, eats the pie. Chad Thundercock. I would regret putting this in. I mean, you're assuming you're the only one possessing Kris. That's another interesting idea, because, I mean, what he's basically saying is there are more forces over Kris than you can control. Not sure if I'd say he is evil just yet, but there's certainly something off about him. I think they was used as a term to refer to someone we are uncertain about gender-wise. It would fit with some of the other themes Toby has been putting in the game, regardless of your thoughts on the matter. I think your greatest point here is the fact that he rips out the soul and inverts it twice. Kris is obviously creating these things, and we are certainly opposing him. Protagonist versus the player. So you're definitely fighting Kris in a way because you have control over him. The question is, what outcome are you, the player, aiming for? You don't really have an outcome as the player. And so what I mean by that is Kris, Ralsei, and Susie, they have a prophecy to follow. You have nothing, right? Aside from your soul is trapped in the body. You don't have a goal, which means, one, you can cause as much chaos. You can cause as much chaos and havoc as you want, but at the same time, you can help them. This is why I talked about the Deltarune and that angel prophecy. So there's the winged ball, which can also be seen as the round chaos, which is an alchemical thing. But you can see the winged ball up in the sky as that's you, that's your soul. I think someone said, I don't know if I said this in my theory or if someone commented this. I think someone commented this, and they said you can see the 3 triangles as Kris, Ralsei, or no, that comment was talking about the winged circle being Titans. Okay, I think what I said is you can be seen as the winged ball with the circle, and then Kris, Ralsei, Susie, they're the triangles at the bottom. You can take it 2 ways, and you can say you're fighting Kris, Ralsei, and Susie just because you can. I actually think that's right, because in Undertale you have the same idea where you aren't necessarily the good guy, but you're not necessarily the bad guy either. That same idea runs here, where you can enact hatred and misery into Kris, which will in turn, destroy everything around you. or maybe try to save Kris, because I think at the same time, this was also another theory, and this is way out there, that I had. I don't think I heard anyone talk. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. People might have, but my idea was, at the beginning of the game, you see that Asriel is working on basically the blueprints of Asriel Dreamer at the end of Undertale. And so my theory was, if Undertale is a game verse, if Undertale's a video game, in the world of Deltarune, and it's made by Asriel, so we could say Deltarune is a prequel, then Asriel finishes Undertale the game, and he uses Kris as the blueprint for Chara. I say that because everything Kris is doing right now, and a lot of the things Kris is doing right now, can be seen as completely evil, out to destroy the world, and also you can say he's out to help people. He's out to help Susie. He's out to help Noelle. This is what, because the other thing is, if they solve the Dark Fountains, everyone wins, right? If you make a Dark Fountain and you don't fix the problem, everyone loses, basically. Except for maybe like Queen, but even Queen acknowledges that she loses. And the Titans come up and they like destroy everything. But and they remake a new world, but I don't even know if the Titans win necessarily. I don't know if they survive. They just kind of come up and do what they're predestined to do and just destroy. Okay, so if the idea is what you do lets everyone else win, even though Kris is his own character, you can you don't project yourself onto him, but you still project your actions onto him, which is one step. It takes away one level of control, because you can't say, yeah, I am 100% this character, because this character has a name. Also, something no one talks about, I keep forgetting to mention this. You name someone at the beginning of chapter 2. I didn't replay chapter 1. You name that character, but it gets discarded. At the beginning of chapter 2, you write out a name, right? And that doesn't get discarded. Where's that name? We don't know. We don't know where the name is. If you solve the Dark Fountain, if you go through it, you put the soul, up to the Dark Fountain, everyone wins. The Dark Fountain is stopped. Susie is closer to you. We've seen this every time. Susie gets closer to you in chapter 1. Chapter 2, basically what happens is Noelle feels better about her existence. Chapter 3, if you stop the Dark Fountain, you can see it as a good thing and a bad thing, because even though the Dark Fountain creates a bunch of chaos, if you solve the chaos, everyone wins. And I suspect that because it's near your house, because that's where the next Dark Fountain is, I think that it will be about helping Kris, helping Toriel. I think MatPat. Okay, I keep bringing up MatPat because I'm sure most people have come up with these theories. And look, this is another thing. I know MatPat's gonna make a video on Deltarune in about a week, and everyone's theories are gonna be just blown up, sky high, disregarded for whatever MatPat says. That's an overgeneralization, and that's not a criticism of MatPat. I like MatPat overall. I think MatPat is really good, and I think MatPat's really impressive, and just looking at his career is really impressive. That's not a criticism of MatPat. It's just saying that he's so big that everyone, even though he says it's just a theory, right? Everyone takes it basically as canon. And not everyone, people disagree and stuff. But it kind of becomes like the whole overarching theory just because he's so big. And like I said, that's not a criticism. That's just how, that's just how it is. But also MatPat's really good at his job. Like there's a reason for that. So that's a side tangent about MatPat. I'm just waiting for when his video drops, and no one's going to get my videos recommended anymore. That's for sure. The Dark Fountain can be seen as a really, really good thing because it can save and it can also destroy. But if you stop it from destroying, you win. So that might be what Kris is trying to do. Because if he stops it from destroying, and he can, because you're there, and we don't get the choice to stop the Dark Fountain or not stop the Dark Fountain. Even if you take the genocide run in chapter 2, the Dark Fountain's still being stopped. Right, so that's kind of like our fate. We're kind of stuck with that. So Kris might just be playing the logic of the Dark Fountain to help himself and help Toriel. I like that theory. I don't know if it's right, but I like it. Quick side note: if you guys want to see more videos like these, let me know, because I don't make videos like these. I don't do the camera with me sitting down and just talking. I don't do that. So let me know if you want to see more of these. Thanks for watching this format and getting to the end. I don't know if this is going to stick. I don't know how people are going to like this, but we'll see. So thank you. That's it.